Imagine a country that was once the industrial heart of the world, where factories ran 24/7, millions of workers built everything from cars to appliances, and Made in USA was a symbol of quality and national pride. Now imagine that same country watching its production lines go silent, its factory towns collapse, and most store shelves stocked with goods from across the planet. What happened to American manufacturing, and why is it so hard to bring it back? In this video, we dive deep into the question, what's preventing companies from reshoring manufacturing to the United States? The answer touches politics, global economics, automation, wages, the environment, and much more. For decades, the U.S. was a global leader in industrial production. In the late 1970s, nearly 20 million Americans worked in factories, accounting for over 20% of all U.S. jobs. Today, that number has dropped to just 12.7 million and continues to decline. The downfall started with globalization. In the 80s and 90s, agreements like NAFTA and China's entry into the World Trade Organization opened the door to mass outsourcing. Why pay $35 an hour to an American worker when you can pay $4 in China or $1.30 in Vietnam? The math speaks for itself. But cost isn't the only factor. Efficiency matters too. Countries like China have poured billions into industrial infrastructure, automation, and workforce training. In 2019 alone, China spent an estimated $248 billion on industrial policy, over 3 times what the U.S. invested. Additionally, China and other Asian countries operate under much looser environmental and labor regulations. This drives down production costs, but often at the expense of worker safety and environmental health. For profit-driven companies, the appeal is obvious. So why even consider coming back? For some firms, the answer lies in strategic independence. The pandemic, global supply chain disruptions, and geopolitical tensions exposed the risks of over-reliance on international manufacturing. Essential goods became scarce, prices soared. The idea of local production gained traction again. Yet, despite the pressure, few companies have actually reshored. Take Intel, for instance. They announced multi-billion-dollar investments in U.S. chip manufacturing, driven by the global semiconductor shortage. Ford is another example, shifting some EV production back to U.S. soil. But these moves are exceptions, not the rule. The biggest barrier? The ecosystem. Manufacturing locally isn't just about building a warehouse and adding robots. It requires an entire chain of suppliers. Chips, circuit boards, motors, batteries all need specialized factories, dedicated equipment, and skilled labor. And many of those simply no longer exist in the U.S. Labor is another challenge. While people often talk about bringing jobs back, the truth is many industrial roles are no longer attractive to American workers. Service jobs on average pay more, offer better flexibility, and demand less physical effort. Today, over 400,000 industrial job openings in the U.S. remain unfilled. Then there's automation. Many manufacturing jobs lost over the years weren't outsourced, they were automated. Modern factories need fewer people and more technical expertise. Even if manufacturing returns, the job impact may be far less than expected. What about the government? Yes, there are efforts underway. The CHIPS Act, for instance, committed $39 billion to domestic semiconductor production, a move seen as vital for national security. But so far, these are isolated initiatives. There's no broad, long-term industrial strategy covering multiple sectors. Tariffs? Opinions are split. Some say tariffs protect domestic production. Others argue they simply raise consumer prices and spark international backlash. Either way, tariffs alone aren't a silver bullet. Environmental standards also play a major role. The U.S. rightly enforces strict environmental protections, but that also drives up manufacturing costs. While many Asian factories operate with little pollution control, American companies face expensive compliance requirements that can kill profitability. So, what needs to change? Experts highlight three key areas: investment in infrastructure and workforce development. Modern factories need trained professionals and efficient logistics. Long-term industrial policy. It's not enough to support one sector, we need to build a full ecosystem. And innovation and differentiation. We can't compete on cost, but we can compete on quality, sustainability, and speed. Companies like Intel, Ford, and TSMC show that with strategy and government support, reshoring is possible. But it's a long journey, filled with barriers, and it takes more than good intentions. The real question is, are we as a nation ready to truly invest in rebuilding America's industrial future? If this topic matters to you, your wallet, your city, and the future of American jobs, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and check out our next video on how industrial policy impacts your daily life. And don't forget to explore our exclusive tools at supplychainexcel.gumroad.com to help you stay ahead in the supply chain game.